So what the 4 pieces of foam, 2 pieces of plywood, and a couple clamps have to do with budget guns and gear reviews? Stick around. Maybe we'll learn something together. So I got to thinking about how I could wet form leather when I'm making a holster or a knife sheath a little bit more efficiently than doing it by hand. If I wanted to make a bunch of a particular holster or a particular knife sheath or whatever. So I decided to steal a page from the Kydex guy's book and use a press. And this press is just really crude. It's 4 pieces of foam, basically the same great foam that my background is made out of. A floor mat, anti-fatigue floor mat from Harbor Freight. Cut it into 4 pieces and 2 pieces of plywood and a couple clamps. Show you how it works. First, you cut and assemble your holster. If you want to have a more detailed look at that process, check out my holster videos. I have a whole series. You'll find a link to it there. Next I have to silk it, and we'll go from there. A word on the gun. I'm going to make this holster for my Star BM. This is an all steel gun. It's a blued finish, so I don't want to expose it to all that water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some plastic wrap and put a layer or 2 around it so that I can protect it from the water, yet not really affect the detail that will transfer to the leather. And that's really all you need to do. You don't need to wrap it all the way around here because that's not going to come in contact with the water. Now I have the pistol in the holster. Time to go ahead and put this in the press. Really fairly simple. Take 2 layers on top, 2 layers on bottom. Try to get them even. Put the pistol in the press, only as much as you need to put it in. I wouldn't put the whole thing in. Make sure it's semi-centered at least. Take your clamps, put it on one side. It's kind of a pain in the butt to... There we go. Try and make sure I'm getting everything on in frame and whatnot. So you see I have one clamp in. What I'm going to do with this clamp is compress this just a little bit. Now if you really wanted to, you could make a more elaborate press that's hinged or on threaded rods that you can crank down with a wrench or socket or whatever. I'm just kind of gonna do the caveman way because, well, that's me. Take your other C-clamp, put it on the other side. Now that I have both clamps on there, it's time to tighten down. So what you're doing is you're putting all this pressure on the leather, forcing it to go into the details of the gun because of the foam. The foam wraps around it and compresses all around it and molds it into the foam. Into the leather. So, at least that's a theory. This is the first time I've done this. So, we'll see how it turns out. It ought to work. It works for the Kydex guys. Now that we have it clamped in there, all we have to do is wait. It's been a few hours. Let's see what we have. It's not as deep as hand molding would get it, but it's not too shabby. Look down inside, which is where the real importance is. And you can see that it's got a pretty good amount of detail in there. That is what's going to help with retention. So I'm not unhappy with that at all. Now, we'll sit in front of a fan for a few hours, let it dry. Dye it, sleek the edges, seal it, we'll be good to go. I'm Mike, this is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews. That was how to use a Crude press to mold a holster. If you like what you saw, please like, share, subscribe. If you really like what you saw, consider becoming a budget buddy on Patreon. You know, any little bit helps. So, thanks, and come on back. Maybe we'll learn something together.
What you want?